Hey there, science explorers. Welcome back to Numbers Universe. Today we are diving into the exciting topic in mathematics, the laws of exponents. Whether you are a student, a teacher, or just a math enthusiast, understanding exponents is essential. We are starting with 5 key laws that are fundamental to understanding exponents. To keep things clear and easy, I'm breaking them down into 2 videos. So in this video, we will cover just the laws of exponents, and in the next one, I'll show you some examples and put them into practice. Alright, let's break it down. To keep things super simple, here are the laws of exponents. First up, let's talk about the basics. Every exponent has 2 main parts. It has a base and it has a power. So think of a base as the number we're working with and the power as how many times we multiply that base by itself. Now, as written in this example, so if A is our base, right, and then B is our power, you can see we write it as A raised to power of B. So that's our exponent. Together they form what we call an exponent. I hope you understand that part. So the whole thing, A raised to B, all of it, that's what we call an exponent. But A is a base and then B is a power. So the whole thing all together, it's called an exponent. I hope that is clear enough. Okay, let's move forward. Let's start with our laws, or the rules of exponent, as some call them. So the first one is the product of powers. So if we have A to the power m multiplied by A to the power n, for as long as our bases are the same, listen to this carefully, for as long as our bases are the same, this law says our powers can be added. So if we are multiplying exponents of the same base, it means we can add the powers. So let's do that. A to the power m multiplied by A to the power m is going to give us A to the power m plus n. Just to write it on the side, it means multiplication of bases is equals to an addition of powers. So keep this in mind all the time when we are moving in this lesson. So multiplication of bases is equals to the addition of powers. That is another way to remember this law, the first law of exponents, which is called the product of powers. Right? So this is the first law. I hope you understood it and you'll be able to use it when we do examples. Now let's go to the second law. The second law says if we have a base to the power m, divide that all by a base all to the power n. Clearly we can see now we are working with a division, not a multiplication. So a division is an inverse of multiplication. When we see a division of bases, it means we are subtracting the powers. So it's just an inverse of the multiplication. In the multiplication, we're adding, but in the division, we are subtracting the powers. So that's the only difference between these two laws, the first law and the second law. We have the same base of A and we have different powers. So it means we can minus or subtract the powers. So we're going to say A to the power m divided by A to the power n is equals to A to the power m minus n. So the power in the denominator is being subtracted from the power in the numerator. You can all see that. That is simple enough, and I think I explained it enough. If you're still confused, don't worry. We will do another video working on examples of these laws. So right now, let's move on to the third law. So what does it say? It says when we have the power of the product, right? So the power of the product says if we have base A and base B all to the power n. Now you can see we have different bases now, base A and base B all to the power n. So this law says that power can be distributed to each of the bases that are inside the bracket. So it means A to the power n is multiplied by B to the power n. It is just a distribution of the power because the two bases are not the same. So we're distributing the power to each of them. I think that is simple enough. So we're moving on to the fourth law or the fourth rule of exponent. Right? What does it say? It says we have the power of quotient. The power of quotient. You can see this is an inverse of the power of product. So it says if we have two bases, A and B, and they're divided all to the power n, we can just distribute the power to both of them. A over B all to the power n is equals to A to the power n divided by B to the power n. That's simple enough. That's straightforward. Now, to the fifth law or the fifth rule. Let's go to that. What does it say? Now, this is a little bit different from the first four that we explained. So I'm just going to explain it. This is named the power of power, right? So it says when we have a base to the power m and all of that, it's all to the power n. This is what it says. It says a base to the power m all to the power n. It means we can multiply the powers. We can just multiply the powers. So this is only one base. It's different from the third law. It's different from the third law. Just notice the difference. This one says we are multiplying the powers because it's only one base. One base. We don't have two bases, so we don't distribute. We multiply the powers. I hope that was simple enough, right? So I'm just going to give you the rules of these rules of exponents. So the A and B, which are the bases, these two are the bases. They have criterias. So A has to be greater than 0, first of all, as well as B, it has to be greater than 0. So all these five laws only work if base A and base B are all greater than 0. If they are less than 0, these laws will not work. All right. Now let's talk about these powers, m and n. What are the criteria? So it says power m and power n, there must be an element of integers. So both of them must be an element of integers. It means if we have a power that is a natural number, or a power that is a whole number, or a power that is a rational number, but is not an integer. Just remember that if it is not an integer, it will not work on these laws of exponents. These have to be integers, and this will work on these laws of exponents. I hope I did explain this enough, and I hope when we do the next video and do the exponents of the laws of exponents or the applications of the laws of exponents, you should be able to understand it. That's a wrap on the laws of exponents. Please practice these laws and you'll become a pro in time. Keep learning, keep exploring.